So, good evening, everybody. Excellencies, friends, colleagues, brothers. This is a nice opportunity that Barbara gave me to talk about the master that I have for what I'm doing today, and this chance that he gave me to work on this wonderful heritage that we have in this region. So I hope that I can be clear with my English that is not very well. So I am talking English with a Roman accent, but you know, I'm trying to explain to you. I will show you 100 slides today. I hope to do fast, but there are some of the most beautiful mosaics that we restored together in more than 35 years of work. He started, as you know, and as he mentioned, Father Rosario, in the 1973. There are three elements that we have to consider in the beginning as an introduction. That, as I told you, there is the beginning of his job, 1973. There is the support that he has from many people, special for the royal family, from the brothers, Father Halim, Father Rashid, Father Hanna. And I have to mention also the Italian embassy that in the 80s they support him with many infrastructure and also by economic help. And also they have to talk about one important point in the contest where he started his work. So 1973, it was the end of the war Israel-Arab, where for 7 years, 6 years almost, the fathers, they didn't go to NEBO because there were many soldiers there to defend the area. And after I will show you one mosaic in the Kirbet al-Mukhayat where we have the Iraqi soldier to defend with the anti-aircraft shotgun. And what happened with the mosaic. Why I mentioned the contest? Because it was very important to know how he started his work. So the first thing, work that he received from the custos, it was a restoration of the mosaic of Kirbet al-Mukhayat. It's a little bit strange because he's an archaeologist. But this, it will be one important point of his mission where he was working in parallel. And it's one of the very little, archaeologists in that time, they were working, for the archaeological excavation and to preserve the heritage that they were found in them work. So here we have, as I told you, the beginning, and this note that you found and the things that I mentioned is in a file that he gave to me in 2006 where there are writing something from him. And what he said there, so in a fairly adventurous way began our mission as a saviors of an artistic heritage, the mosaic. So he spent all his life, most of his life, for the restoration of the mosaics he's spending. So here we are in Kirbet al-Mukhayat. He received this work. Why? Because in the 6 years of the war, the family that they were living in NEBO as a guardian, they transferred themselves inside in the building of the church. And there is some damage. So he arrived, he did the intervention on the mosaic and also the rehabilitation of this building. This building is one of the historical buildings of Jordan. It was built in 1935 by Father Girolamo Mikhail to protect the mosaic. So it's one of the first building done for the protection. For example, in NEBO they did the same, but in NEBO the church was reused for celebration, to celebrate the mass, reconsecrated. This one, no. It was done only to protect the mosaic. And this is one historical point. We don't have to forget, in the same time, 1935, we have also an important restorer from Germany, Bernard Gauer, that he restored the church of St. Cosmas Damiano. Later, we have also many other restorers. Even the Madaba map was restored in 1965. This is why I mention also this, because we have to know the work that even the DOE was done in these years. It was established in 1923. So in the situation where it was not very easy, in the region to take care about the heritage. So this is an important introduction that I have to do. Now I will talk a little bit less, even it will be difficult for me because I'm always talking too much, but I will show you the precious mosaics that we restore, especially in Jordan, but also in the region, Syria, Jericho, Jerusalem, and Egypt. Another important point is the relationship that he has with the local community. It was one of the first important point for him, and he have these things until the end of his life. Always training somebody, bring the people. Everywhere we are going, we should take 2 or 3 local people. Why? Because we should to teach them. In the future we can need, but also because they should to preserve them heritage. It's them house, it's not for us. We are coming there for a few months, finish our work, we have to leave. So this is the philosophy in general, you know, and how much is important to working with the local community. You will see now, because all the mosaics that you will see here, they are restored from me and from some other Italian, like Antonio Vacalluzzo, Mario Aranjo. But most of the people they work and they restore these mosaics are the people from Faisalie, the people from Madaba, people from Petra. So, let's go. Here we are 2 interventions mentioned from him in 1973 in this church of Lotta and Procopius. It's very interesting to see in this photo also that appear Father Bellarmino Bagatti, that it was one that in 1935 he discovered the church. And it was very important for him because Father Piccirillo here, it was very young, it was his first work, and he don't have a lot of experience. So he inbound a lot of information from Father Bellarmino Bagatti, and special for the work of conservation, or let's say preservation of the mosaic, from Father Virgilio Corbo. So this is almost how it is the mosaic today. You can see how much they are nice, even the color, even the fantasy of the mosaicist. I put also this photo because between 2001 and 2007, this mosaic has several interventions, because the problem continued to going up. And with many interventions also, it's very important to know that is one of the mosaics that we have a lot of documentation about that. In the end, we left a part of the mosaic and we replaced in the same situation as it was before. So, and everybody now, they can visit because they are very clean, you know, there is no salt efflorescence, there is no any kind of problem all around, they are well preserved. This is part of the work that it was done between 2007 and 2005 and 2007. And this is how is appeared the mosaic today. In 1967, he did also the conservation of the mosaic of the Church of St. George. It's next to Lotta and Procopius, in the same Mukayet. It's very important, this photo you will see later again, because I will explain for you the context what he found in this situation. You know, you can see how they are damaged. But this mosaic, as you can see from the map is from 1935, it was all complete mosaic. Here are the nice historical photo that nobody knows, because it's the, as I have to say, a gift of one of his first volunteers that he working with him, Maurizio Villa, that he gave me this chance to show you direct Father Michele Piccirillo where he was working to lift the mosaic. I have a note where he said, in the beginning I start to work with my hand. And in fact, you can see it. Is this one with the red t-shirt. Also, we have this big man here that is John Abela, another father that he helped him for more than 30 years. Here you can see they put the animal glue with the cloth, and this is the system to lift the mosaic. Why they were lift the mosaic? Because the situation of the conservation, it was very bad. And he received also some advice from an important restorer that we have in Italy in that time, that he was working in the Officina Vaticana, and is Antonio Cassio. He explained for him in which way you have to do the intervention, because otherwise, if you keep it, the mosaic there, or you put in a guardian in the shelter, or, you know, the weather, and even the people, sometimes when they are walking, you know, or sometimes even the animals, because it's in a place where the shepherd with them goats, they are going around, they can damage the mosaic. This is the system of the lifting. Here, there are the intervention that he started to do inside in the Basilica of the Memorial of Moses in NEBO. As I told you before, he started his work after the war. But before the war, Father Virgilio Corbo, he left a lot of mosaics inside in the Basilica to do the investigation for the other levels. In the Basilica of Nebo, we have in most of the chapels and the area, not less than 2 levels of mosaics. We have in the center nave, we have 4, maybe even 5 different levels of mosaics. The system, how it was, lift the mosaic, casting back on with the cement and the iron mesh reinforcing, and after they used to replace. The mosaics of the other levels, what they used to do, they used to put it in the wall. It's the same that you found today when you are going to visit Mount Nebo. The mosaics that there are in the wall normally are from the 2nd or the 3rd level. So, because it's not possible to replace. Why? Because the Basilica received, during the century, many interventions of enlarging and also conservation. So, here we are going to talk a little bit about the context that he found. Because, you know, Father Piccirillo in this situation can be also considered someone that he started his work without any knowledge. But we have to understand the context. So when he arrived, this is what he found in Kirbet el-Mukayyad. I told you before, there were a war, the Iraqi soldiers, they were living there. Look what happened. And here I have an historical photo where you can see the missing part. You know, before there is the mosaic, after 30 years almost, the mosaic was completely disappeared. You know, here when we restored the mosaic in the center nave, we lost almost 50%. We lost it. So it was for him a very important moment to do an action. So it was really important to work. Because here another example. The mosaics of Amos and Cassiseus, the church of Amos and Cassiseus, were also the center medallion, that it was the important one, the mother of the earth, Gaia, it was lost. But we have the historical photo where the mosaic, it was there, you know. And the copy that you have see here, it's made by me and Antonio Vaccaluzzo. The new part, it's divided from the original one. We put in a line of lead, and we cast them back together. So now, if you are going there, you will find, yes, the copy, but also you can see where is the old one, and the original one, and the new one. Another example. This is the inscription of the Church of Elia in Madaba. Also this, it was documented, but during these 30 years, it was lost. Also with Father Piccirillo, you know, by this inscription, this photo, we did a copy that now is casting in the garden of the Madaba Mosaic School. Now we are talking, now you will see that there are several mosaic, you know, and several work it's done, and they are in interview or entry with some different period. But I divide, you know, this conference to let you to understand that there are many people even working with him. And there is the collaboration with the other institute. Here I mention only 3 institutes. I didn't forget the other, because some, like ACOR and like UNESCO, I will talking later. So I didn't put it inside here. But it was interesting for me, you know, to let you know that you have many collaboration. And here I mentioned the École Biblique of Jerusalem with the professor Jean-Baptiste Ambert in Kirbet Samra, 1000, in the 81 and the 83, with the German Protestant Institute that he collaborates with the Professor Thomas Weber that is here, and now I'm still working even with him in Mkais. I will show you. This is the wonderful photo that he gave it to me of this experience where Michele is working, and the mosaics that he helped him to lift and also casting back, and now they are exposed in the museum. Here is Tel Madaba with the University of Toronto with the Professor Timothy Harrison that we cooperate in 2000, 18 years ago. This cooperation, of course, they are very important, you know. And I have to say that in this period, Father Michele Piccirillo, for this kind of intervention, you know, for the conservation, it became as an institution. So everybody, they were to ask him advice or talking to him or ask him to come to work, you know. So now we jump to 1986. About 1996, but you know, I have to say also something a little bit before. Even in 1982, there is a very important collaboration with the 2 Italian architects, Lino and Massimo Benedettucci. In 1982, they were invited from the Jordan government, and with the help also of His Excellency's Michele Marne, that it was at that time the director of the tourist office in Madaba, to start to study how to arrange the actual archaeological park. So the Virgin Mary excavation, the whole of the Hippolytus. These two architects, they are very important because they start to give the idea for him that how much it was important working and teaching the local people. And also, to give a maximum, as to say, stage, you know, about the treasure of Jordan, they advise him also to do an international exhibition of mosaics of Jordan. As you can read there, he started the exhibition in Rome, 1986, but he went also in Vienna, Berlin, Münster, Lyon, Spilimbergo, Bergamo. This exhibition, it was from 1986 until 1992. There is also another part of the exhibition in Sevilla, where they exposed the talassa that is came from the mosaics of the Apostle Church in Madaba. The Apostle Church in Madaba was restored between 90 and 96, was lifted, and the talassa was transferred in Ravenna, restored, and after, you know, they exhibit this in Sevilla in 1992. This is an historical photo about the exhibition in the Boden Museum in Berlin. Honestly, I try to find also photo from the other place. Unfortunately, I just received, we don't remember, we don't know, but you know, I continue to work about that. You know why? Because, you know, this is for us, it's document. We don't have to lost. So we should to keep it and refreshing. Before I mention, you know, these two architects, Lino and Massimo Benedettucci, here we start to talk about the Madaba Mosaic School. He started thinking about this in 1982, but he opened the school in 1992. The school was opened by the help of USAID, Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also the Canada government. So the three countries, they work together to open and establish this school. And Father Piccirillo normally, you know, over the work that he used to do, you know, during the year, in the summer he used to inbound a lot of experts about the conservation of mosaics, conservation of stones in general, pottery, glass, metal, and he used to do the summer course special for the student. Here we have also a visit. This is 1995, or from Her Majesty the Queen Noor. And now it's one of the things that we have to say, the big help and support that he received from the royal family. You know, without this support, I think that his mission were not so strong. Later, I will also mention His Royal Highness Prince Hassan, because also another important things for his work and even for ACOR. This is one of my first work. I was called from Father Piccirillo in 1994, and this is the first stage that we give for the student, that it was the repairing of the gaps in the mosaic of Massua. The restoration of the Hippolytus Hall by Mario Aranjo, and also with Father Piccirillo to promote Jordan. This is a copy of Madaba map related to the exhibition and to the centenary of Madaba map that we did in 1997. But with Father Piccirillo, we did 5 copies in the size 1 by 1, and we send it all around the world. We send it. Of course, this was also in another point where we didn't do it only the copy. We did many copies, and it was also in a kind of important point to let the local people working, because you know you can teach them, but after, if you didn't give even the possibility to have some work, it will be not easy. And with this kind of work, also they increase them knowledge. You know, this is the Hippolytus Hall. Why I mentioned this, and later I will. This also the Apostle Church, because these two church are very important as the first stage. You know, direct on an old mosaic for the student. Of course, here they came different restorers to work with them, and this also was an important point, you know, to work with a different kind of hand, different kind of experience. This is another part of the Apostle Church. And here is the restoration of the mosaics and new mosaic. This photo, I put it because it's very interesting. You have two students, Muhammad Barghouti and Ruba Sultan. These were the first course of the Madaba school, where Barghouti, Muhammad, he is doing the new mosaic, and Ruba, you know, she's doing the restoration of a small piece of mosaic. This is also the graduation day with His Excellencies, I think his name Muhammad Al-Adwan, Father Piccirillo, and in the dark, Claudio Cimino, the architect Claudio Cimino, that it was the director of the school in that time, until 1996. This I don't have to forget my best friend, Muhammad Sabri, Ahmed Sabri. He still continue to work with me and fighting daily, you know, but it's a nice guy. Of course, he's doing just new mosaic for me. He's from Irbid, and he's working, this is also another important thing, because with his knowledge, now he's working in an office in the municipality of Irbid, where he takes care about the historical building of Irbid. And here started my collaboration with the two master. In 1994, of course, I meet Father Piccirillo. In 1996, I meet Antonio Vagalluzzo, that he teach me a lot of things that I can do today, even how to use the hand, but I don't have to forget my father, because the best teaching became from him when I was young. But you know, about the restoration of the mosaics, these are the two pillars of my life. In 1996, as I told you, I meet Antonio, and the first work that he gave me, Father Piccirillo, it was in Emmaus, Nicopolis, that is near Tel Aviv. It's the restoration of this mosaic, that it's part of probably in a Roman villa, 4th century. And also this was one of the first work of Father Piccirillo, where he lifted the mosaic and he cast him back in the same place, you know, with the system that I showed you before, concrete reinforcing by iron. This photo I did 2 months ago. So I came back after 20 years, more than 20 years, and I found the mosaic is still in the museum in a very good condition. This mosaic, it was for me the first experience, but it was also the first experience as we started to working here in the region. Because these countries, you know, the region, they don't have the cultural related to the conservation. It's not mean the cultural how to know, but it's related to the culture about the tools and the material. Here, still, even now, very difficult to find material for conservation. Most of the time, you should to import. Here, you cannot imagine how we did the work and where he's casting on this mosaic. He's casting in the panels aluminum with polystyrene. We found only that, and after 20 years, are still in the good condition. So I hope that still for more long time. And this was why I mentioned this details about because in the beginning, you know, we started to import a lot of stuff from Italy, but we discovered that finish the material, we cannot continue your job. So after this experience, Father Michele started to say, when you're going around, start to open your eyes, check which material we can find, and we should try to work with everything we found here local. One, it's the economic problem. Second, because you can help the local population. Third, because the local expertise, if they don't have the stuff that you teach them how to use, they can never work. But if they are local, they can continue to work. And I have to tell you that in 2006, we start to produce even slaked lime in Jordan. Now, unfortunately, the company is closed. We cannot continue to use, you know. But it was slaked lime, it was the lime that the Roman and the Byzantine, they used to casting the mosaic on the floor and built the wall, built the theater with this material. And we used in Jordan, and I give this lime to the expert restorer of Kusaramra, because when they arrive, they don't have a lot of stuff. And they told me, we did the analysis, this lime is better than what we have in Italy. So it was something very important even for us. Now there is a section where I'm talking to you about the mosaics that we restore out of Jordan. But in some of this mosaic that you will see now, we took with us also the local, the Jordanian working with us, we open also the relationship and the work with the Syrian, Lebanon, and with Palestine. This is in Ama, 1999. We restored 3 mosaics. Are the mosaics of the musician, and this is something that you cannot imagine how much is nice. Believe me, you know, it's all the small stone and the beautiful colors and the decoration of the dress of the woman are in glasses. And it's very important also to mention this about the concert of tomorrow, because here we have the first and one of the oldest example of the pipe organ. Yeah. This is the one details of the pipe organ. Look at the decoration, how much it was nice. I don't have also to forget to mention Peter and Inge Mortensen, that they were the director of the Danish Institute in Damascus, that they support us financially to do this restoration. I said 3 mosaics. We restore also one unique piece about the Noria, Naura, that is from the Roman times, and 1 mosaic of the Adam. These are very small. The other one, it's almost 20 meters square. This one, they are small panel. You can see there where I was with Father Michele and moving the pieces. After, you know, we did an intervention also in Shaba and Sueda, that is in the south of Syria. And also here, I have to say, some amazing mosaic. I'm going a little bit fast. And here we are in Taibat El Imam, 2007, 2009. This is one of the last work that Father Piccirillo did. It's in a mosaic of a church, almost 650 meters square. You cannot imagine even there how much it was big. It was discovered in 1985. It was discovered, and with his wonderful relationship that he had with the director of the antiquities, you know, they asked him to do the conservation of that. But he didn't do only this. He built also the shelter. And he provided about everything, the restorer, the money. And even now, after, you know, start there the Arab Spring, and the area where is Hama, this Taibat El Imam is 20 kilometers in the north of Hama. The situation is not very, very safety, but the mosaic is in safe condition. Because before they started the Arab Spring, they called me and they asked me how to protect. And they put almost a meter of sand. So the shelter is completely damaged, but the mosaic is still in situ without any problem. These are some details. 442. It's not clean, the mosaic, because we did only the consolidation. We did. Look how much is rich. And now another wonderful piece in Egypt. 2002, 2004, in cooperation with ARCE, that is the American Research Center of Egypt, with Robert Vincent, everybody was calling him cheap, that he helping us, and he called us to do the restoration of 3 mosaics. The mosaics of the hunting, probably 3rd or 4th century BC. Father Piccirillo used to play with me and tell me this is from the house of Cleopatra. It's possible because they found it in an area of where it was her villa. So it's possible that is it. It's a kind of mosaics that it's contain many different technique of the execution. Now you can see from the details. There are a mix of stones. Here, there are pieces of ceramic. And also all the figures around, they have the small line of lead. So also the part of the animals, they were made by rubble stone. And they are more similar of the mosaics of Pella in Greece. But it's an evolution of, there are many techniques together, there are. This also is another small mosaic. It has a small panel. It's almost 1.5 meters by 1 meter of Alfio and Aretusa. And this one is the representation of the Queen Berenice, how it was, how we finished after we finished our restoration. And I put also the small photo of the eyes, where I have to tell you the stones there, they are 1 millimeter, maximum 1.5. Here there is the last days of the documentation. So now I will go to another important project that we do it. that is the Jericho workshop for mosaic restoration, the mosaic of Sham Palace. I already worked before, 1997, but here start, the opening of the second school that he do it for the student of Palestine. This is 1997. I went there to restore the sauna. And here, this is the tree of the life. I have to say that when you touch this mosaic, you listen some vibration that is talking to you. Even the way as they cut the stone, the material is completely different than the other. There are several green, yellow that they used only there. Here in Jordan, we found just some tessera in some rare place, and they are not glass. It's all stone. This is big, almost 12 meters square. And this is part of the palace, the grand bath. There is the photo of the documentation. This is the system that we used before. We used to put the camera, cover the sun. And it was the Christmas time with Garon Abaldian. He killed us in these days. The Palestinian guys that they are working in the consolidation of the mosaic. And also here you can see how much they are nice. Here I will show you later also another example similar to Sham Palace that is in Wadi Al-Asa, in Shugair al-Garbiye, near Kerak. So I cannot say that I was not lucky to meet him. Now we will go to Jerusalem. He gave for us the chance to work in the Holy Sepulchre. Not everybody they can work there. It's a unique church. And in 2000, we did this intervention of cleaning all the mosaic. Here we have the center medallion. Probably it's Crusaders, 1999, the date of this part. The rest of the mosaics, they are modern, are from 1923. This is we did the intervention of cleaning for the new mosaic and cleaning and consolidation for the Crusaders medallion. So here we have to talk about this project, BILAD SHAM. BILAD SHAM was founded by Father Michele Piccirillo, and the idea with Osama Hamdan and Carla Benelli, that they are, Osama Hamdan is an architect working in conservation, and Carla Benelli is in the working history of art, but he's specialized in a project of cooperation. Why we did this project? Because it is related to the contest of the creation of a center and the regional cooperation. This was one of the dreams of Father Michele Piccinillo about Madaba Mosaic School. The dream is to create a center in the region of the Middle East for the restoration. Because the other countries, they don't have. So what it means that? It means that with this school, it's possible to teach in the local Jordanian and export them to go to give this knowledge and the way how to restore the mosaic even in the other country. So we created this project, but it was not as in a school, but it was like in a month of training course related to several different kind of intervention, that it was including everything, the conservation, consolidation, documentation. Now we will see several photos about that, and here they were working, Iraqis, Syrian, Lebanese, Jordanian, and Palestinian. We did this BILAD SHAM project from 2000 to 2008. Here we are in Kirbet al-Muqayyad. As I told you before, we did several interventions. This is one of the interventions. And this is one of the problems that we have in this mosaic, the swelling. The mosaic starts to raise up. Here is another program that we did in Syria. This is the mosaic how we found. It was in a Roman tomb, came from Afamia. This is how it was. And this, it was not finished, this photo, the mosaic. But this is what we opened and what we found it. Documentation. And this is also part of one of the first work that we did in, with the work of this BILAD SHAM in 2000, 2001. This is the mosaic that I showed you in the beginning, the Church of St. George in Kirbet al-Muqayyad. So after the conservation, this is only the reminder that we have from the center nave. We have also some intervention in 2005 in Marasas, that where we did small consolidation and the documentation of the state of conservation. Here is the photo with all the team working together. Now I come back, it's the last part of the, it's not the last part, there are another 3 blocks, I'm so sorry, about Jordan. This is, we started this work from 2006 to 2008, but we continue to work even after Father Piccirillo passed away. And this is the intervention that we did in the mosaics of Paradise in the Museum of Madaba. Here we have a big support by USAID that they pay this conservation. You can see how it was before and after, after our intervention. They did also in a previous intervention in 1995, but it was not, as to say, complete. So when we did our intervention, we lifted all the mosaic. We did the installation under the room, and we cast in back the mosaic. So until now, from 2000, I think Dr. Basem Mahmoud, that is the director of Madaba, he can prove that still in a good condition. And here there is the team with the director of USAID of that time, Excellencies J. Knott, Father Piccirillo, Antonio, Barbara, and the director of that time, Ali Al-Kayat. This is also another project that we did in Madaba. This is part of the reconstruction of the mosaics of Elia. It's one of the most beautiful mosaics about the details because there is a lot of damage. And we started in 2007 because the situation, it was really in very, very bad condition. We lifted the mosaic. Now I will show you the details of this mosaic, how much they are nice. The mosaic is lifted, still storage in Mount NEBO. And we are trying to working even today to find some money because we have to restore, first of all, the shelter, because it's impossible to replace the mosaic there because it's in a bad condition. But inshallah, next year I will have some, maybe some support to start to restore the shelter. And after we will see, also for the mosaic. Of course, all this work that I have mentioned, it's not meaning that I am doing. We are doing, of course, in the cooperation of the DOA, the Department of Antiquities. This is part of the intervention of 2007. These are the historical photo, 1994, when they cleaned. They discovered the mosaic before, but when they cleaned it the first time. And these are the details. These mosaics are really precious, very simple, but with a very high expression. Here is another project that I do it, but here, we are going after the Father Piccirillo, he passed away, after the 2008. We have several collaborations, and I continue his mission and continue to work with the local institution. Of course, I continue to work because with our background, related to Father Piccirillo, not only for me. And here don't forget to remember UNESCO that they support and they pay for this project. And the director of that time, Anna Paolini, with his husband Gaetano Palumbo, that also you will find here in the photo where he tried to do where he did the test for the excavation. Is this one. Working with the local people. This with the yellow t-shirt is Khaled, that's still working with me from 12 years. And the lady, she's the lady that she's working in Madaba Mosaic School. I'm so sorry for the name, I didn't remember. And this glucose system is the system that we use to do the consolidation of mosaics. So we inbound the system from the hospital we used for the mosaics. This bag contained the material for consolidation by drop, and slowly did the consolidation of the bedding layer of the mosaic. But this I told you, we should find the material and stuff that it's local. These are the 2 mosaics I've restored. Are also this in, of course, most of the color, they are not clear because they were doing fire inside. And also they use as a stable for animals. And one of this, it was used also as a cemetery. I think they found like 12 or 13 body they found there. This is another project, 2009, Castle Alabat. In Castle Alabat, Father Piccirillo is working 2 times. 1981, when he did the drawing and the measurement of all the mosaics that they found, and also 1990 by Antonio Vacaluzzo and Sergio Pezzi. They lifted the mosaic from there because it was completely without any controlled area, and for the risk of the losing the mosaic with Dr. Gazibisha, they decided to lift the mosaic. And in 2009, in cooperation with Architetto Ignazio Arce, we did the restoration of this mosaic. And also here now you will see another treasure of Jordan. These are small pieces and fragments that they were in situ until 2009. Now, of course, they are restored and they are inside in the museum. This is some intervention of cleaning. There is the intervention of lift the mosaic from the floor. These are the photos during the work where we fix it and we casting back the mosaic on the panel, aluminum panel. And also here there is a nice way that we try to do for give the idea of the reconstruction of the missing part. This is another project, Shogaira El Garbie. Is in a castle, the same time of SHAM Palace. Also the entrance of the castle is the same. And there is a balcony that is looking for the Wadi Al-Asa, where in the origin he has 200 meters square of mosaic. With the collapsing of the palace, and also because the mosaic is closer to the valley, it was lost at part of that. But also this, is a really precious mosaic. This is the center medallion. And the work was done in cooperation with Dr. Zakaria bin Bahadin, that is still studying now in Germany. And we hope, to continue the conservation, because the last year we did this, it was just a month to try to preserve as much we can the mosaic. We did also the consolidation of the columns. Some columns that were broken in 2 or 3 pieces. We fixed it back with epoxy resin, local, of course from some company from outside, like Bas and Ilti, but it's available in Jordan. And this is part of the mosaic of cleaning and consolidation. And this is the photo reconstruction of all the mosaic. Also here, I did in a cooperation with a student that they came with the Erasmus program the last year, came from Greek, and they are working, they are a student of Stefania Cloveraki, that she is a colleague and a partner with Costantino Politis, the Professor Costantino Politis. And now we start with the cooperation of ACOR. As I told you before, I didn't mention the other institute because we have now it's 14 years that I'm working with ACOR, but Father Piccirillo started with ACOR. I think the first work, it was 1992 when they established Madaba Mosaic School, and after, the publish of Mosaic of Jordan. Here I have this my experience, with ACOR in 2 different projects: the Church of Petra and the Temple of Winged Lion. And I was working before with Pierre and Patricia Beccai, and now we are working with Barbara Porter, but also, I don't have to forget my director, that is Jack Green. This is the intervention of 1994. The church also has 2 different interventions before. In 1994, the first intervention, 1997, the second. This is my intervention of 2004. These are the other details. I have to say that it's one mosaic that it's made with big stone, a little bit rough, but the artist who did this mosaic, it was really one of the most great artists that we have here in Jordan. Here also I don't have to forget the partner and the colleague that he worked with me, that is a restorer here working in ACOR, Nayev. This is the documentation. As I told you, our work, it's also not just coming, doing, but also it's documented as much we can. I think about the TWL and Petra Church, I think we have more than 50 maps about we documented everything we documented. And we're teaching, the local community to document everything that we can see with our eyes, There is, of course, other system there are. This is the work of the TWL, with the training of the local community. Here I have to mention also this project, part of this project that is made by SHAM, where we did an intervention of preservation of the podium of the cella. Now you can see that there is a new mortar in the surface, but this new mortar is completely detached from the original part. We put in a barrier, deep barrier, where in the future, if you want to remove this mortar, it doesn't touch any centimeter of the original one. It's just a light to protect the ruins, from the weather. And now I will talk to finish my intervention about the Memorial of Moses. This, of course, Father Piccirillo, he did many things, but I think one of the most important mission that it was in all is 36 years of work here in Jordan. It was the restoration and about the Memorial of Moses. Here I mentioned something that in Italian is l'arte è pace, l'intelligenza è dialogo. It's mean the art is peace, the intelligence is dialogue. I found this in his small diary that he was writing a few weeks before he passed away. And I think it was a nice message to give to everybody. This is the first day of the excavation of the Basilica of the Memorial of Moses, 13 July 1933, with Father Bellaribino Bagatti and the director of the expedition, that it was Father Sylvester Seller. Here I cut, the previous work, and I came from the 70s when he started. Father Michele is here, that is casting back the mosaic that they were lifted from Father Virgilio Corbo. And there, this is the photo of my friend who helped me with this lecture, to give you also this photo, Maurizio Villa, that he was a volunteer in that time. Here we have to imagine of how it was before, 1963, the first shelter, and NEBO today. This is the intervention of work, continue to stay forever Khaled with me. This is the first baptistry of the church, and this is the photo of the baptistry of the church. Here I have to say thanks also to Razan Fakuri, because she did this photo for me. Here some photo about the details of the replace of the mosaic in the floor. You have to know that there are 750 meters square of mosaics, 8 years of work. We remove for more than 600 meters square cement from the mosaic. And we remove also from the walls more than 300 truck of cement, because this is the cement, it was the material that they had before to do the conservation. And we don't have to feel shame about Jordan for this, because I have to tell you something that nobody say. But in the Church of Santa Apollinare in Ravenna, in 1970, they still restored the mosaics with cement. So, this is how is the first baptistry now. This is the date of this, it's August 530. It's one of the most beautiful mosaics that we have in the region. And this is now you will see some details. I have also to mention the local community. They started in 1933 working, and they still, until now, with Father Junior, that is the director, that is the guardian of NEBO, with Father Ammar. They still doing the maintenance, the conservation, and even welcome for the tourists that they are coming today, and they are all people from the village of Faisalia. So now I want to mention this and finish about Mosaic of Jordan. This is one of the most important book and work that is done about the mosaics of Jordan. And I found this mention from His Royal Highness Prince Hassan. 1st August 1995, he said to Father Piccirillo, the best book you can give as a gift on Jordan is Mosaic of Jordan. The other one is a drawing, pencil drawing by Marina Moratti of Father Michele. And thank you very much.